Okay, so I hope my slide is visible to all of you.
Yes, ma'am, visible. We can start.
Okay. So today's topic is food safety, science in action as the vision given by the World Food Day. Sorry for the interruption. As the vision given by the World Food Safety Day, and it has been growing day by day with the collaboration and collective action of WHO and FDA, which is based in US. As we all know that without food, we can't be on the right track of life. In the same manner, if the food that we are consuming, that we are producing, that we are distributing, or even we are selling, that all, if it's not safe, it's not food. So today we will discuss how food safety is related to science and what type of all requirements are there for the food business operators to maintain that food safety in their own independent systems. I am Dr. Mamta Prajapati. I am a food technologist having around 20 years of experience, some for the industry, some for the consultancy, and some for the training. So past around some 6 to 7 years, I have been into the training part. And apart from that, I have been into industry for around 15 years. So it's all a big series of events which I've also dealt in my career. So let's celebrate the World Food Safety Day with this session. And this had been a part of our life. Why? Because without food, water, air, they are some essential elements of our life. This time, WHO and FDA had given science more effort towards the food safety. They want us to learn the food safety in a way that it is more scientific in nature. Why? Because it is only science which tells us whether the food is safe or unsafe. It is not that we can check it through our tongue. It is not that we can check it through the vision. We have to check certain parameters which are associated with each and every food, and that will give us the final result between the safe and unsafe food, or demarcate it with the thin line of safety and unsafety. At the same time, if the food is unsafe, it will be towards foodborne diseases. Maybe in the long run, they would do more harm to our body. So the theme for World Food Safety Day, June 2025, is Science at the Heart of Food Safety. This scientific knowledge, which is related to food safety, it actually helps us to build a complete food safety ecosystem related to food. Why? Because it reduces illness. And if illness is reduced, naturally, we are not spending more towards our healthcare. So we are actually investing that capital amount into some other things, that is into healthy food. And if illness is not there, at the same time, we are saving lives. Okay. Now, we all need safe food. And as far food safety is everyone's business. The slogan has not changed. Why? Because each and everybody in the food chain or the food ecosystem is responsible for food safety. May it be the farmer, may it be the marketing professional, may it be the processor, may it be the manufacturer, may it be the packaging person, may it be the maintenance person, may it be the consumer, may it be the supply chain owner. Each and everybody has their own responsibility towards the food safety. So the slogan always remains the same with World Food Safety Day, that food safety is everyone's business. But this year we are focusing more towards learning of food safety with science. Food Safety Day is World Food Safety Day is facilitated globally by Food and Agriculture Organization and World Health Organization. And they have always said that food safety is a shared responsibility, collectively monitored and followed by each and everyone who is in the supply chain model, or either in the producer model, or either in the consumption model. So might be producing, they might be processing, they might be supplying, and they might be consuming. But each and everybody has an important role to play in food safety. Now, why do we work on food safety? If we look into the data globally, around 200 diseases can be caused by unsafe food, which may cause somewhere around 1,60,000 people ill, and which will pose an economic burden of 110 billion. Now, there would be a question in your mind. Why are we studying this data only? Where is India's data? So yes, in India, we also face such type of diseases. So if we look into our recent food poisoning cases, it's summer. And during summer, there are many such foods which are perishable in nature. And one of them is rasmalai. Rasmalai, which is to be stored below 5 degrees centigrade so that it does not cause any changes at the microorganism level. So if you see this slide, you can see different food safety incidents which had occurred somewhere in the last month or maybe in last 1 year. In all the cases, the main culprit was rasmalai, which was not stored, or it was not produced with the right method so that it can be consumed in the safest way. So if you look into the first link, where it's a case of Madhya Pradesh, where in a wedding around 500 guests, they were food poisoned with such type of rasmalai. In the other case, which was based in the state of Uttar Pradesh, the city was Gorakhpur, where the rasmalai was not safe because of excessive addition of baking soda. Or we can say that soda has been added to rasmalai to make it more fluffy. Any food additive, if it is added to the food beyond good manufacturing practices, the same additive now becomes hazard to the food and it makes the food unsafe. If we look into the other incident, in that also people were ill because of eating unsafe rasmalai, or that was not stored at the right temperature. Way back in 2002, 20 people suffered from rasmalai poisoning in Lucknow. At the same time, it was also found that rasmalai was adulterated, and it might be adulterated because of the milk solids. It might be adulterated because of the any of the additives which needs to be added during its production. So it is not that India is not facing food poisoning cases. We do face food poisoning cases. And the recent one is also with putukata, which was being served during Navratri. That is last March. Now, what happens if any such food is poisoned and how it could occur? One could be there might be contamination from different types of bacteria. In fact, pathogenic bacteria, which actually grow into food, produce the toxins, and because of the toxins and the growth of microorganism, now the food is totally unsafe. And once it is consumed, it will give its own characteristic. It will transfer its food poisoning elements to the people. The culprits might be Salmonella, Listeria, S. aureus, Bacillus cereus, Yersinia, Campylobacter, and many more. At the same time, if the storage is not done properly for such type of perishable foods, again, bacteria may multiply, and once they multiply, they will produce toxin leading to food poisoning. Inadequate cooking. This can be done with the liquid part of rasmalai. If the milk is not properly cooked, then also it will allow the growth of microorganisms. At times, the milk solids, milk powder is being added to milk. And if this milk, if it is not boiled properly, then it may allow the growth of microorganisms. And the main culprit are, in this case, S. aureus and Bacillus cereus. Cross-contamination. The storage utensils or the ladles which were used to serve, that might be the food contact surfaces causing cross-contamination. Other one could be poor hygiene from the food handlers. That means maybe they are using their hands to serve the food, or even they are not following all other food hygiene practices like not wearing clean uniform, not wearing gloves, numerous times of hand touching with common food surfaces. That can also be a reason for contaminated food. Now, all these food safety incidents, they tell us that food safety is important. And food safety is not only important at Indian level, it is important at global level also. The recent case of mango, tons and tons of mango were not considered to be safe, which were exported to other countries. So see, it is not only food which is cooked. Food could be anything which is produced at any end. It might be from the farmer and it might be from a food industry. So, and the global culture tells us that we need to take up food with each and every element to be considered and followed. Because if we are not following, then such type of exports, they are always at loss. In such case of export of food items which are from the farmer's end, their food will not be back to India. It will be dumped in that country, and such type of dumping will bring about total loss at the producer's end, at the exporter's end, and even the world will know that food safety norms are not being followed in our country. That's why it's a global concern. And the drivers of change again, because we are doing global trade. So that is one of the reasons. And at the same time, we follow the World Trade Organization agreement. Which time we are following modern approaches to food safety. And that's why we are adopting different quality assurance programs. Why? Because we want to make the food safe for human consumption. If suppose any food producer, any supplier, any manufacturer, any processor, any packager, or any retailer, it is not following the food safety regulations, then there are legal and regulatory actions also. So in India, the legal action is taken by FSSAI. If we are exporting to other countries, then the legal action would be from the exporting country. So that's why we need to enforce some procedures which make the food safe, like at every step of food production, processing, distribution, we need to take the parameters, we need to follow the parameters to make it safe, so that the consumer actually finds a quality food item on the table. This also requires awareness and knowledge. And awareness and knowledge to whom? Especially to the food business operators, food handlers who are actually working with food, along with the food growers who need to follow the food good agricultural practices at their end, so that no unsafe element it enters into the food safety ecosystem or the food chain. So for that, each one of them, the farmer, the producer, processor, manufacturer, food handler, they need to know about the food safety hazards. How? They need to study the quality and what all factors which create problems in the food. They need to be studied by the food industry personnel, and at the same time, regulatory authorities also give the limits for such type of problems. Like it is said that no foreign body should be present in food. So foreign body should be negligible in food. All the food additives needs to be added as per GMP. Only 15 colors are allowed by FSSAI, which are edible in nature. At the same time, general public means the consumers, they should know also about some of the food safety hazards. Like they should always buy packed products which are untempered. The label should be intact. The pack should be sealed properly, and they should always check for the shelf life of the product whenever they are buying or before consumption. So let's take a dig about the food safety hazards. Now, food safety hazards can be based on intrinsic or extrinsic factors. Intrinsic factors like the pH of the product, the basic composition of the food, the moisture content of the food, and extrinsic factors like the presence of air, the temperature, and what all other factors which can affect the growth of microorganisms. So because of these food safety hazards, the food safety elements might be disrupted, which would allow changes in the food, and this change in the food may bring about an infection by consumption of food, may bring any injury if it's something which is physical in nature, like glass, stone, may be toxic if it is something which has been a chemical nature of toxic values. Based on these factors, three main types of hazards has been associated: the physical hazard, the chemical hazard, and the biological hazard. Now, the physical hazard, it is visible in nature. Maybe at times it may be small. So specific measures might be taken to check and to measure these physical hazards, like the metallic fines. These metallic fines can enter into the processing lines from the machineries with the wear and tear of the machineries. Might be machinery might be made up of mild steel, that might be a cause, or machinery might be rusted because of its origin nature. It might be of iron, it might be of mild steel, and with the moisture, presence of moisture in the food, it might produce rust. At the same time, sometimes some of the foreign body or physical hazards can enter from the supply chain, and because of its small nature, it might not be removed from the system. So in that case, different possible measures are taken, like it might be sieving, or it might be sorting. A sortex might be used to remove that physical hazard. Now comes chemical hazards. Now these chemical hazards, they can be sensed through either flavor or by their smell. At times, they might be visible because of their color, but most of the times they are not visible by color. Now, these chemical hazards can start or can enter into food from the farmer's end because of the use of pesticide and insecticide, or if such agricultural commodity is not being stored at the right temperature, in the right conditions, in the right humidity, then at this point of time, toxins from the microbial ant could grow, and they are natural toxins which are present in the system. Some of the natural toxins also might be present in the animal food, like fish. If it is not stored at the right temperature, then some toxins are produced which contain histamine, and such type of histaminic content of feed, if fish is, if it is consumed, it can cause a series of reactions in the human body. Then comes biological hazards. Biological hazards which are unseen. They are not visible by our eyes, and we are not able to like check it with any of the methods unless and until they are being properly analyzed. And if we are checking it through any of the methods, might be rapid tools, may it be other testing methods, in that case, what happens? Whenever the result comes, now the food is already being toxic. The food cannot be consumed. So we are losing the product which has been produced specifically of that batch or throughout the day. At the same time, biological hazards can even cause loss of life. How? Some of the toxins which are produced by the microorganisms, they are even able to produce some lethal changes in the body in ppm or ppb levels. Others, they might accumulate in the body, and with the accumulation day by day, they can cause a series of disease in the body. Like most of the agricultural commodities, they carry ochratoxin. If they are not being stored, the agricultural commodities, they are not being stored at the right temperature and the right humidity. It may also carry fungal toxins in the form of aflatoxins, and there are around 4 types of aflatoxins present in agricultural commodities. Some of the produce, they also carry sugar toxin from sugar. So all these toxins, they are dangerous to our body. And for that, what we can do? We need to control the growth of microorganisms. How? First, by hygienic conditions. Second, by maintaining the temperature conditions so that the microorganisms are not able to grow in the food. There are some foods which are perishable in nature, like milk, like fruits and vegetables, and which need to be stored like all the animal foods, like its fish, its meat, its egg. All these need to be stored at low temperature. And there are some organisms which can easily grow even at low temperatures. One of them is Listeria. So what we need to check? Initially, we need to check how the food is being processed, under what conditions. And at a second point, we need to check what is the proper storage temperature, because this will help us to control the growth of microorganisms along with other factors. There are all other factors. We need to control the surfaces. We need to control the processing conditions. We need to control the packaging conditions. We need to control the health of the food handler. So all other factors also are involved here. Under this microbiological hazards or biological hazards, we use the tool of microbiology. And this microbiology helps us to actually check the growth, actually check how the growth of microorganism is occurring at different steps of the process. Different types of tests can be done, and these tests can be finally concluded to actually know the presence of microorganisms, or the know how the growth factors are working in the system. So we can simulate the growth of these microorganisms through our different microbiological tests by giving them mediums to grow. And based on that, we can check out whether the growth can actually occur in food or not. We can go for total viable count. We can go for yeast and mold count. We can go for coliform test to check all the coliform group of bacteria. It may be for E. coli. E. coli and Salmonella are the two organisms which are checked for pathogenicity of any of the food. And some yeast, they also grow at even harsh conditions of salt. They are known as osmophilic yeast. So with these tools of microbiology, we are actually able to know what conditions are known for the growth of microorganisms, and we will prevent those conditions of growth in our food which we are processing. So in that manner, we would be actually able to control the growth of microorganisms. Some of the foods are directly associated with specific microorganisms. Like if we talk about poultry foods, it is directly associated with Salmonella. It is directly associated with Campylobacter, because bird, their intestine, it bear Salmonella, and at the same time, birds, they also bear Campylobacter. So we need to actually work for restricted growth of these two microorganisms by maintaining the hygienic conditions, by maintaining the temperature conditions of the food. Now let's know about hazards and contamination. If these hazards, that is physical, chemical, biological, are actually present in food, they will lead to contamination. And if such contaminated food is consumed, it will cause illness in people by spoiling the food, making it unfit for eating. So actually, contaminants can enter into food during production, during preparation, during packaging, during storage. And as a part of food safety, we need to prevent those contaminants by entry into the food. From this contamination, a new term originates, that is known as cross-contamination. Now, this cross-contamination occurs whenever harmful or pathogenic microorganisms are actually transferred from one surface, from surface to food, food to food, or from human to food. So from surface to food means that the food contact surface is carrying microorganisms, and the food is now, when coming in contact with that food contact surface, like the utensil, like the processing surface, like the conveyor belt, then food gets contaminated. Food to food. Raw food and finished food. It is being handled by the same element, and it will bring about food to food contamination. Human to food means the food handlers who are actually working with the processed food, they are not following the hygiene practices. Like their hair might not be covered, their hands might not be clean, they might not be wearing clean uniforms, their nails might not be trimmed, or they might be eating while working. So that may be a reason, or the person might be ill. If the person is ill, that means the body is carrying disease. And if such a diseased body is handling food, then surely the food gets contaminated. So the poor personal hygiene becomes one of the major reasons of cross-contamination from human to food. Other reasons of cross-contamination might be improper food storage. 5 to 60 degree is known as the danger zone, means any food which needs to be stored at low temperature should be either below 5 or at or below minus 18 degrees centigrade. And if it needs to be stored at higher temperatures, then it should always be beyond 60 degrees centigrade, like our soups, our curries, our savory dishes which are served hot, they need to be stored at temperatures above 60 degree centigrade. Inadequate cooking. Food once cooked, it should reach a specific temperature of cooking. Not under normal cooking conditions, it should be either boiled properly so that the temperature reaches and kills the bacteria. And if it's reheated, then we should make sure that the reheated should be stored at proper storage temperatures. That means below 5 degrees centigrade, or it might be under refrigerated conditions. That means somewhere below 10 degrees centigrade. Some of the foods, they require specific temperatures of low at the refrigerating conditions. Unclean equipment and utensils are an example of surface to food contamination. Contaminated water or ingredients are an example of food to food cross contamination. So that's why in food industry, we always use potable water for any of our functions. May it be washing ingredients, may it be washing hands, may it be washing utensils. So to prevent the cross contamination, we actually need to control these hazards. And to control the hazards, we need some food safety standards and systems in place. Now, what does this food safety standard says? The food safety standard actually identifies and controls the potential hazards, and it ensures that food is free from any such food safety issues. At the same time, the food systems, they keep the hazards under control. And some of the examples of systems are HACCP, or Hazard Analysis and Critical Control Point, or the prerequisite programs which actually form the base of the food safety, or a food safety management system, which we will discuss in our further slide. Now, what is a food safety management system? It is actually a structured system which ensures that food safety is being followed at every stage of the food chain, starting from the farmer's end towards the final finished good end, which is packed and kept on the retailer's shelf. And it follows the preventive approach. What is a preventive approach? Preventive approach says that we are maintaining all the prerequisite programs like the clean and hygienic infrastructure, good, easy to clean machineries, following the pest control programs properly, following the cleaning and maintenance schedule properly, imparting the right type of training to the shop floor workers, and time to time verification of the systems. These are some of the PRPs required. And along with that PRPs, we also work with the different type of hazards which are present in the system. We first study for the hazards which are present, then we analyze it, and finally develop the HACCP system, which is known as the preventive approach. Now, these food safety management systems, they first identify the hazards, then they evaluate the hazards. How much of them are present? Are they quantified during the processing, or can they be controlled during the processing? So based on that, the FSMS actually restricts by putting up control measures on the hazards, like setting the right temperature of processing, utilizing the right type of washing methods to prevent the growth of microorganisms, or setting up the right testing measures for metallic contamination with the right type of test pieces in the system. Test piece might be checking 0.8 mm ferrous. The test piece might also check 1.8 mm aluminium, and even it can check the SS. So depending on that, we put up the right type of measures. And not only this, the food safety management system should also be compliant with the legal and regulatory standards set up by Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. And it should regularly monitor the measuring steps, verify whether the measuring steps are being followed properly or not, and it should show continuous improvement by proper analysis of the verification studies. Like, I am monitoring the microbial load of my system. How? By checking the microbial load of food product samples from the different points of my processing line. Now, how would I verify that my microbial testing is adequate? For that, I can send the sample to another lab. I can also do the precise testing with other labs, so that I can check whether my testing is adequate or not. And based on that, I will improve my microbiological analysis. I can set up with new methods to work out, take up the right sampling method for microbiological analysis. Now, since we are following the Food Safety and Standard Authority of India, so all food business operators need to follow the Schedule 4 requirements. This is also a part of food safety management systems. And depending on the requirements of your customer, any food industry can either have a HACCP food safety management system, the ISO 22000 food safety management system, FSSC 22000 food safety management system, or the PRCGS type of food safety management system. What are the benefits of FSMS? The first and the foremost, safety of the food. Second, it reduces the foodborne illnesses which are associated with the hazards which are present in food. It allows the food business operator to follow with the legal and regulatory requirement also. This in turn builds up consumer trust and develops the brand reputation. At the same time, since FSMS is in place, the food which is produced is of consistent quality because the parameters are checked uniformly throughout the process. It also improves the operational efficiency and process controls because of the different control measures and monitoring methods employed at different stages of production. We are checking the metallic contamination with the help of magnets and even with the help of metal detector. So this in turn helps us to produce a product which is free from any type of ferrous contamination or any type of metallic contamination. One example could be your tea leaves processing. At the same time, FSMS helps us to follow the traceability. We can trace back what's the raw material, where was it procured, who was the supplier, or we can trace down the batch, how was it produced, did we follow each and every control measure, or did we breach any of the measures, so that that batch can be worked out quickly and swiftly. This also boosts market access and export opportunities. If we are exporting to other countries, either we need to have ISO 22000 or we need to have FSSC 22000. Some of the customers also require the RCGS. So this improves our export opportunities. Since we are working continuously with FSMS, this brings about a food safety culture throughout the system, throughout the organization. People know about the food safety policy. They need to follow the food hygiene policy. They need to follow the no jewelry policy. So these are all are parts of the food safety culture. And in turn, since we are continuously following the food safety practices, this helps in continuous improvement of the system. Suppose earlier we had a uniform which wore plastic buttons. And during our continuous checks, we found that plastic buttons might enter into the system. So what improvement did we do? We changed the plastic buttons to metallic buttons, which can be checked out at the end from metal detector. So this is a part of continuous improvement. We do had a uniform before and still we have a uniform, but now the metallic buttons, they are detectable in our metal detector. So let's study about some of the food safety management systems which are present. Like the first one is HACCP. How to implement HACCP in our system? HACCP, which is actually a preventive system. It actually ensures food safety by first identifying the hazards, then bringing about the limits of those hazards, then controlling those hazards, regular monitoring, and finally developing the HACCP food safety management systems. So what are the steps to implement HACCP? First, assemble the HACCP team. Always make sure that the HACCP team is multidisciplinary in nature, like people from technical people from production, from the quality end, from the maintenance end, from the any specific expert required for your process might be there, and the person from the HR end should also be there, so that he should know what all food safety means in the system. Then comes describe the product, which includes the ingredients which are in use, then what are the processing methods required, and packaging and storage requirement. Like if we are processing milk, milk might be having pasteurized, and for that we will be receiving raw milk. Then milk might also be undergoing ultra high temperature treatment to produce Tetra Pak milk. Milk might go for drum drying or spray drying to produce the powdered milk. And then the packaging also differs with the type of processing method. It might be pouch packing, it might be Tetra Pak packing, it might be laminated packing to avoid any moisture in the system, along with the storage also. Storage also is required, right type of storage is also required for specific product. So all those knowledge should be with you whenever you are actually developing your system. Then comes intended use. How the milk should be used. The pasteurized milk, boiled, used, or it should be stored at below 5 degrees centigrade till it is being boiled. Then if it's powdered milk, it can be stored at ambient temperature and it can be used as per the instructions given on the pack. Also, the target consumers are very important because it is the specific nature of the consumers the product has been produced. Like we have infant food, which is being produced for the infants. The total processing is under full control without any human touch. So the target consumer changes the processing method also, changes the type of food safety measures taken in the system. Then comes constructing a process flow diagram. Now, what is a flow diagram? It is actually a step-by-step visual representation of the production of any food. If we take how the raw materials are stored, then after the storage of raw material, how preparation is done. Suppose I'm producing jam. So first I would be purchasing the right type of fruit. The fruit should be containing pectin. So it should be a mixture of raw fruit and the fully ripe fruits to impart flavor to the jam. Then comes its washing. Then comes its pulping. Then comes its cooking with the addition of sugar to maintain a total soluble content or TSS of beyond 65 so that no microorganism can grow. So this is the step-by-step process to produce jam. Later, it would be packaged. The packaged container should be clean. So the packaging involved should be clean in nature. Check should be there for the packaging material. Then filling of jam, then cooling, then finally lidding and tamper-proof packaging. So this gives the flow diagram. Now this flow diagram needs to be checked before implementing the system. A proper on-site verification should be done, and this on-site verification would take up the nitty-gritty details like time temperature required or the environment required or the machinery requirements, what are other parameters while processing. So the real conditions involved, they need to be accurately checked with the process flow chart maintained on the table with the HACCP. Then comes the other steps like conducting the hazard analysis for biological, chemical and physical. all these hazards, they might be present in the system. We will bring about a restriction of the growth of these hazards. And if such hazards are found significant in nature, like we found that microorganisms might grow in food at a storage temperature of 15 degrees centigrade. So what we will do, we will maintain the storage of food below 15 degrees centigrade so that the microorganisms do not damage the food or do not spoil the food. So this becomes the critical control point. So to maintain the safety of the food, then comes the limit. Now, whenever even we are killing the microorganisms at the processing time, they might be totally killed and they are present in an amount which is zero in nature. But with time, some of the microorganisms may grow, and at that point, we need to put up the limits. All the pathogenic microorganism, the limit is mostly 0 in per 25 gram of sample. Like for salmonella, we will take 25 gram of the product and then it needs to be tested, and finally each 25 gram of sample should bear no salmonella. But the same product can give some reading for PPC. It might be 100. It may give some reading for Eastern mold count. It might be 50. It might be 20, depending on the nature of the food, depending on its storage temperature also. Like if we are checking the pasteurized milk, it might not be having any pathogenic organism, but it might be having some viable organisms which needs to be either tested by TPC or total viable count. So for that, we have put the limit. Now we will do the analysis. And the analysis is done by putting the samples, milk samples, into the right type of medium to allow the growth of microorganisms. Are these methods which are followed properly maintained? So this would be one method. Then are the method of pasteurization properly maintained? And for that we need to check the time temperature components which has been implemented in the processing line. So it might be 63 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes to 72 degree centigrade for some seconds. So this time temperature should be monitored throughout the processing of pasteurized milk. If at any point of time this time temperature is not met, and what we do, we establish the corrective actions. And corrective actions occur whenever our critical control point has been breached. It has been beyond its limit. So for that, what we do, what we will initially adjust the temperature to its original set point. Then we will remove the part of the milk which did not receive the right temperature, or we will rework it. We will again pasteurize it so that it is reaching the safe time temperature control and finally giving us a safe product. Now comes the verification procedures. Is the pasteurization being done at the right temperature? So is my temperature gauge working properly? So for that, what we need to check? We need to check our temperature instruments with standard equipments, and this is known as calibration. So this is one type of verification procedure which is meant for the different type of parameters which are being tested by the quality person. Other is the audit. Auditing the complete HACCP system. Are all the steps of HACCP being properly implemented? Are all the critical control points properly working? Are all the critical control points properly monitored? Are all the critical control points properly validated? That needs to be checked under audit. Then, for all these steps which we have been working, starting from the team towards the ingredients, towards the and hazard analysis, then the critical limits, then the monitoring procedures, all these needs to be documented. And these documentation actually bring about the stable maintenance of a HACCP system. So this was about HACCP. Now let's take a look about the Schedule 4, which is required under licensing and registration regulation by FSSAI. Schedule 4 is actually present as a essential and mandatory part under licensing and registration regulation, and it focuses on the hygienic and sanitary practices which needs to be maintained by all types of food businesses which are either registered or licensed under FSSAI. Small food business operators which have a turnover of up to 12 lakh, they go for registration, and big food manufacturers which actually have a turnover beyond 12 lakh per annum, they go for license. Then comes the other requirements of Schedule 4, like the personal hygiene of food handlers, sanitary conditions of the food premises, how they are handling the raw materials and food. This is of special importance. Why? Because raw materials, they contain many hazards. So these hazards need not enter our processing line. At the same time, these hazards can also be controlled by our supply chain. We are receiving a totally food safe raw material at the suppliers, and then comes storage and transportation. Storage and transportation functions when we are receiving raw material and when we are actually putting our finished good into the system of business. So at both the ends, storage and transportation is required. At times it might be ambient conditions, at times it might be specific controlled conditions of time and temperature. During both these conditions, there should no cross contamination between the foods, for raw food also and for finished food also. Then comes cleaning and maintenance of equipment with regular cleaning schedules, and all the equipments, they should be food grade in nature. Maintenance allows to work hassle free for the production. If there is a breakdown, it creates loss of productivity for the system. Then comes record keeping. So each and every FSMS, it emphasizes on keeping specific records, and Schedule 4 emphasizes for keeping records of purchase by keeping Form E, for production all the process records, cleaning and maintenance records, pest control record, personal hygiene record, the sales records, and all these records finally, they actually form the batch manufacturing record, which help in traceability of the system, traceability of the product. Now, in general, if we are managing any other food safety management system in our industry, it might be a ISO system, it might be a FSSAI system, it might be a PRCGA system. There are some common points in between all these food safety management systems. Like for each food safety management system, a food safety policy needs to be established, because the whole system moves and revolves around the food safety policy. The food safety policy should be documented, and it should align with any of the legal requirements. Legal requirements means requirements by the Food Safety and Standards Authority of India. And customer requirements are the specific requirements which has been given up by your customer. Like they want you to pack your product in laminated packaging. So this is a customer requirement. Or they want different colored packaging for their system. So this is again a customer requirement. Or suppose normally the processing can be done at 5 or below degrees centigrade, but they want the product to be specifically processed at or only 1 degree centigrade. So this is a customer requirement. So on that basis, our food safety policy should be based. Then a food safety team, which should be cross-functional team with proper expertise in the operations which are running in the industry, maintaining the quality and hygiene of the whole system, conducting the hazard analysis. Now, HACCP, though it is an independent food safety management system, it also has been incorporated into other food safety management systems. Without HACCP, we cannot run any other food safety management systems. So for any other FSMS, HACCP is also required. Along with HACCP, we also require some basic prerequisite programs, which might be in the form of good manufacturing practices, which might be in the form of cleaning and sanitation, maintenance, pest control, training, or any other requirement. Then comes development and document of FSMS procedures. Each and every process which you are managing in your system, it should have a standard operating procedure. Even a simple step of washing of any raw material or cleaning of any raw material requires a standard operating procedure. If I'm cleaning raw tea leaves, the method is different. If I'm cleaning raw mangoes, the method is different. Raw tea leaves, they are not washed. They are actually procured in a manner that they are free from any foreign body. Then raw mangoes, they need to be washed with potable water to clean all the dust, dirt, and soil. So one requires a dry cleaning while other requires a wet cleaning. So standard operating procedures should be in place. And each and every SOP, whenever it is placed in the system, it needs to be communicated to the people who are working, or it needs to be actually passed on to the people who are working on the shop floor, or the people who on the shop floor needs to be trained for this standard operating procedures. Each standard operating procedure also bears certain set of records. Like if I'm talking about washing of mangoes, the possible records might be first the quality of water which is being utilized for washing. Then it might require certain type of sanitizer to be added to the water. So now the concentration of water, concentration of sanitizer to be added to the water. In third record, it might require certain temperature also for washing. So now the other record could bear, or the same record could have all the parameters like the temperature of the water which is being used in the washing. So each SOP might require one or more than one record depending on the type. Then comes training and awareness. What type of training is required? What type of awareness should be there? Each and every food handler, each and every shop floor worker needs to function as per its responsibility. The production needs to be done as per SOP. The packaging needs to be done as per SOP. The storage needs to be done as per SOP. So for each and every function, they should know what action they need to follow for their specific responsibility. So first is awareness, and that awareness can be brought about by trainings. And training should not be done in a manner that the personnel forgets for what he was trained. Training should run continuously and regularly in the system so that the same points are being hammered for on the mind of the person again and again. Even a 2-year-old child, not 2-year-old, around 2.5-year-old child who enters into the playgroup, he or she knows how to wash hands. And the same washing hands was being continuously displayed, was being continuously made aware during the time of COVID. So see, training and awareness can be done for any person who is handling any type of responsibility in the system. And if there is no training, it will not bring awareness for the people who are working with different processes. They might not be knowing what is the importance of the specific control measure. Like suppose I am maintaining the pH of my water. Why I am maintaining the pH of my water? So that my cleansing agent might function well. But if the importance of pH is not being known to the food handler, then he will not put his efforts to maintain the pH of the washing water. So that's why training and awareness are required. Then comes educate the staff at levels for the specific food safety roles and responsibilities. Each and every process has specific food safety parameters to be controlled. For perishable foods, the food safety measures are mostly the microbiological methods. For non-perishable foods, the food safety measures are mostly the physical hazards which might be present or the chemical hazards which might be present in the form of pesticide or insecticide. Or it might be any other hazard which can enter from the process line, like the lubricants from the process line. Next comes management review. Now, when do management review to be done? Whenever we are actually doing the review of our system, we are actually checking our system. Are they running as per what is mentioned in the food safety management system SOPs or not? So, a review of the system is being done for a check for all the SOPs which are present in the system. Are they actually being followed? Are the observations being regularly monitored? Are the monitoring equipments actually functioning properly? Are the people who are working on the shop floor, they are following the SOPs? If all these parameters are not being met, then what could be done for improvement? Or what are the loopholes which have been found during these inspections or check? All these findings are then put with the management, and based on that, we will check out whether the FSMS standards are in place or not. If not, then the effectiveness of the FSMS standards is not being met. And for that, we need to make some changes in our food safety management systems. Like if we talk about maintenance of machineries, we have a specific frequency. But during the management review, it was found that during the past 6 months, the machinery breakdown was found to be high. So for that, we need to bring about the breakdown in the machinery at a level so that our productions is not hindered. What can we do for that? We will actually reschedule our maintenance program. If it was every 6 months, now we can move towards every 2 months or every 3 months so that the maintenance schedule maintains the health of the machinery. And in turn, if the health of the machinery is maintained, then surely this will bring about improvement in our system. So such type of review should be done against the management system standards so that our system is effective and under continual improvement. During the management review, now this management review can also bring about certification. And this certification, if suppose I'm working only with Schedule 4 under the food safety environment of FSSAI, we might require ISO 22000 as per my customer requirement. We might require FSSC 22000 as per my export requirement, or any other globally recognized standards, like it could be Canada GAP, it could be SQF, it could be BRCGS, any standard could be followed. And for that, we can take up the certification. So based on this certification, now we can follow the different clauses of ISO 22000 or the FSSC 22000 and any other system standards which we are going to follow. One of the benefits of it, FSMS, is that it allows us for continuous improvement through the different observations which we have made for our system. It could be the performance data, it could be the feedback from our customers, it could be the audits conducted against the management system with the regular schedule. So this helps in continuous improvement of the FSMS. Now, if we talk about the certification or the FSMS based on ISO 22000, it is developed by International Organization of Standardization, and earlier there was only one management system which was known as ISO 9001, which was also known as quality management system. Later, with time, food required a specific management system, and this gave way to development of the ISO 22000, which integrates the different principles of HACCP, the PRP requirements. So this will finally, when we have incorporated ISO 9001 along with the PRP requirements, along with the HACCP requirements, and we finally work out with, or we finally develop our food safety management system towards ISO 22000. What does this help us, or what does this gives us? It ensures safe food handling and production. It puts a complete control on food safety hazards, improves traceability and accountability of the system for food safety. ISO 22000 also allows us to meet the legal, regulatory, and any of the customer requirements. It's a certification which is of global recognition. So let's move on towards the other food safety management system, which is known as Food Safety System Certification 22000. Now this is again a more complex system. How? Because it incorporates a food safety management system based on ISO 22000 along with its technical requirements or technical specifications for specific food sectors, like for food manufacturing, like it might be for packaging, it might be for transportation, it might be for pet food, it might be for animal feed. So different sectors require different prerequisite programs. Here I have taken only the prerequisite program required for food manufacturing, that is ISO Technical Standard 22002 Part 1. So there are some 5 parts for this technical standards. And along with that, FSSC 22000 also requires additional specific scheme requirements. Now this bears some food safety culture requirements, some technical requirements regarding laboratories, some technical requirements regarding testing, regarding storage, regarding transportation, some third-party services, they are to be taken up under the clauses of FSSC 22000. So this brings about a complete check on our third-party requirements also. So all the additional scheme requirements, they actually capture any of the activities which we are not conducting in our premises, but we are dependent on other service factors. This also is being incorporated in the FSSC 22000 standard. And again, it is also recognized by GFSI or at global level. It is applicable to different sectors of manufacturers, processors, animal food, pet food, transportation, food additive, storage, packaging material, all the sectors are involved. So this actually gives us a comprehensive framework for managing food safety risks at a global level by allowing the organization to achieve regulatory compliance, customer confidence, and since we are following the global standard, we have an access towards the global markets also. Now, another system, food safety management system is BRCGS, which is popularly known as British Retail Consortium Global Standards, which is one of the global food safety initiative program developed by manufacturers, processors, and packagers comprehensively. So all of them work together to bring about a FSMS, which is finally giving a complete quality check, completely safe food to the system. It focuses on food safety, quality management, and legal compliance. And this is one of the toughest food safety management systems to be followed. Minute steps like lux level of light, inspection points, infrastructure, they are incorporated into the system to make it more comprehensive. And these is widely used by retailers and suppliers because the food is being produced at one point and finally when it reaches to the consumer, it has to pass through different handlers, different stages of manufacturing, processing, packaging, wholesaling, distributor, retailer. So that's why it is being developed in a manner that it is comprehensive in nature, allows to improve product safety, maintaining consistent quality, and in turn, this builds consumer confidence. It is also applicable across the entire supply chain. So, being food handlers, being processors, being food manufacturers, food industry gives you an era of careers. It might be, you might be handling the process. So in that case, you can develop the process, improve products, maintain the quality standards, and a generic term for that activity is known as food technologist. Now the same food technologist can now handle precisely the process controls under quality assurance or the final product check under quality control. Then comes the same food technologist now can check the food safety management systems for their implementation, for their regulatory compliance. And now the same food technologist becomes an auditor, which is a booming and growing career today, in today's era. And especially this auditing role, people with even 1 year experience or 2 year experience, they can also enter into the auditing role nowadays. The only thing is that you need to know about these food safety management system in detail so that you can actually check out whether the organization has implemented the different clauses as per the management system requirements or not. Then comes being into quality control. You can finally become a microbiologist by maintaining the checking the food safety of the products and the ingredients. This also helps in maintaining the shelf life of the product. Along with that, nutrition plays an important role in food. Without nutrition, food has no role. So, such a person can also develop its the career in the field of nutritionist. Can be allied with different nutritional programs, and some of these people can get and can enter into the chain of hospitals along with their role in developing nutritious food in different programs, like some of these programs are being run under government schemes also. Then each and every product which is being produced, it needs to follow certain legal requirements which have been put up by FSSAI. These legal requirements are all mentioned under Schedule 4. Along with the Schedule 4 requirement, the product also needs to follow the some principal regulations which are mentioned under FSSAI, like licensing and registration regulation, food product standard and additive regulation, prohibition regulation, food product residue and contamination regulation, laboratory and sampling regulation, advertisement and claims regulation, organic food regulation, infant food regulation, labeling and display regulation. So, for such a comprehensive regulation area to be followed, a regulatory affair manager also is required. And the same food technologist can now work out, study with experience, develop a comprehensive knowledge about these regulations and work as regulatory affairs manager. Now, process is an inherent part of food industry, and such processing and production requires production manager, supervisors, operators who can actually regularly work out with the food manufacturing processes. New products are required, new processes are required, new equipments are required, new technologies are required. For that, R&D specialists are into the system. Without packaging, food cannot make its way into the market. So, each and every food requires specific parameters of packaging. For that, we need safe and effective design packaging solutions designed by the packaging technologist. Then comes food which is being packed now. It needs to move away long till it reaches to the consumer. For that, it will go to the wholesaler, it will go to the distributor, it will go to the go down, and finally it will reach to the shelf. So all these process lines, all these logistics need to be managed, and for that we need a supply chain or logistics manager. The base is again the food technologist. Same food technologist can diversify into different fields and make its own career. Now, with this such type of careers which we have discussed, the food industry also requires certain certifications. Some of them are mandatory, some of them are voluntary. Like the mandatory one is FASTag food safety certification, which is recognized by FSSAI, and people who are working on the shop floor, as per licensing and registration regulation, for every 25 person who is working, at least one person should be trained under this scheme so that he could manage the process well as per the Schedule 4 requirement, apart from the regulatory manager required. So regulatory manager is having a different place and the food safety supervisor is having a different place. Now, as we know that HACCP forms the base for food safety. So there is a certification for HACCP also, and our organization, it conducts training for HACCP. So under Food Tech Network, we conduct FASTag trainings, we conduct HACCP trainings, then we also conduct the ISO 22000 internal auditor trainings. Why these internal auditors are required? Because when we are working with the process, we need to implement the 22,000 clauses inherently. That's why such type of trainings are being conducted. Along with that, other certifications in food industry are for SQF, for BRC, for FSSC. So FSSC 22,000 internal auditor training is also being conducted by Food Tech Network. Allergen awareness training is also important. Allergen, though I had not discussed it in today's session, but it is also a part of hazard, and actually it comes from a part of food only. Some foods which are proteinaceous in nature, they act as antigens to some people who are sensitive, and for that allergen awareness trainings are also being conducted by our system. So Food Tech Network also organizes allergen awareness trainings. Some key skills are required in the food industry, like the processes which are being run, their technical and operational skills. So for that, mostly food process engineers are required. Analytical skills are required to test the food. What are the products which are being produced? They are safe in nature or not? For that, the chemist is required, food microbiologist is required, sensory analyst is required. Sensory analysts are especially required in breweries, in tea industries, and at the same time, people are required for their analytical requests to solve different issues which are persistent in the production line or which are found in the quality of the product. Along with that, some soft skills are also required. Means you always need to work out with food safety first. Even a small food safety uh, incident can cause a major breakdown of the system. So work out with the food safety, work out with the parameters. Whenever you found that the critical limits are broken, bring out the, adjust the critical limits, work out with the product which is not safe, and finally maintain the system as per your FSMS requirements. For all these things, you need to have a good communication skill. Whether the system is compliant or not, how to report, you need to know. Time management is also a part of soft skill. How to face the situation when it is critical in nature with limited time. That will help you when you are having good knowledge of the food safety management systems. What actually a food safety management system requires, what actually hazards are, how you can control the hazards in your system. That will allow you to work with this type of soft skill. Then some additional skills like for product development, you need to know some specific processes. Supply chain management, depending on the type of product you are supplying, you need to have specific controlled conditions. Nutrition knowledge when you are developing some new product or working out with the product under processes. Now let's talk about the auditing requirement with different FSMS. Two types of audit are conducted. Internal audit by the people who are actually working inside the system. And external audit can be a certification audit or can be a regulatory audit conducted by FSSAI. So, Food Tech Network conducts courses for internal audit based on HACCP, based on ISO 22000, based on FSSC 22000, and you can avail the services whenever you want. Right now, in the month of June, we are going to conduct a internal auditor program based on ISO 22000. It is a evening program. So every day it is a 5-day week program. The same time, 7:30 to 9:30 for 5 days, starting from 23rd June to 27th June. So I hope you enjoyed this session and you will surely join this internal auditor program, which is upcoming in the last week of June. So with that, I finish. If you have any queries, you can surely ask for any of the topics which we have discussed today. You can even write in the chat box if you have any queries.
Ma'am, I have one query.
Yes, please.
कि जैसे लाइक शेड्यूल है, शेड्यूल हमको फॉलो करना चाहिए, इसके साथ साथ कौन कौन से जो रूल्स हैं एफएसआई 2010 2011
Yes.
जो अपडेट है, अपडेटेड रूल कौन कौन से हैं?
If you want to go for updated version, you need to visit the FSSAI website. On the FSSAI website, there are compendiums available for each of the regulation. So under that compendium, the new changes are being mentioned there.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I was joined the class late
name of
only,
the
ma'am.
website,
So
ma'am?
what can I do,
Just a
ma'am?
minute. Just a minute. Let me close the screen so that I can actually focus on your questions. Yes, please.
Ma'am, can you provide this PDF?
Which PDF? Yes, I can surely provide this PDF to all of you.
By mail or WhatsApp?
I think the right person would be Lokesh. He would share it with you.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Ma'am, tomorrow also
Hi.
same time will
Good
be the
evening,
class
doctor.
start, ma'am.
Not tomorrow. The program for internal auditor ISO 22000 would start on 23rd. It's an evening program which will run 5 days a week. 24
Okay,
to
ma'am. There is
27
no
June.
classes of tomorrow, ma'am.
5 days.
There is no classes of tomorrow.
Tomorrow there is no class.
Okay.
Ma'am, when will the certificate be provided?
Hello.
If you all have registered, you will get the certificate.
Can your organization give any certificate?
If you have registered, you will get the certificate.
Ma'am, where I will register, ma'am?
Very cheap.
Ma'am, where I will register?
See, for that you need to ask. Okay, Lokesh, let me take up a question. The question is from Mr. Rohit Sawant. He's saying, I'm a BTech agriculture engineering fresher and highly interested in working with the food industry. What should I do? Since you are from the agriculture industry, agriculture engineering part, I think you need to first go for a HACCP program so that you need to know about the food safety basics. Okay. So whenever there's a HACCP program running, go for it. HACCP program runs in two parts. One is only the basics of HACCP, and second is HACCP internal audit. So it will give you a glimpse of food safety, and with that you can start your career. Prinka is asking, internal auditor training is free or cost or paid? It's a paid one, and you can get all the details from the website. The web details are there. Okay, there's a question by Mr. Sheikh Arif Basha. He's asking, what are the basic courses required for each food technology students? So see, first I think you should go for HACCP. One thing is HACCP. Then based on that, on your interest, you can move on towards the different FSMS standards, like it's the ISO 22000 or FSSC 22000. You can also go for courses like allergen, food defense, and even you can go for FOSTEC courses. So FOSTEC course is a must for each and every student, because that allows you to enter into the industry with full confidence. So FOSTEC and HACCP should be your start. And later you can also move towards the different standards like FSMS for with ISO 22000 or ISO 20 or FSSC 22000. So Vish Patel is asking that he has done BSc Food Nutrition and Science. Which career should I choose? You have so many careers to choose. You can become a nutritionist. You can become even you can opt for PG course in food safety. You can opt for PG course in food technology. You can also opt from some diploma courses. So based on that, you can enter into the system. And since you are a food graduate, you can always go for FOSTEC course. FOSTEC, HACCP, ISO 22000, FSSC 22000. But initially start from FOSTEC and HACCP so that you can learn step by step. Okay, Sonal Thakur is asking for his postgraduate from agriculture biotechnology, and she wants to know how could I enter into food technology. Okay, so see, there are many firms which require biotechnology students as a part of their R&D systems. So for that you can apply. That would be a good field for you. Isha is asking, what are the qualities needed for a fresher to get a job in food industry in quality department? Actually, if you want to enter into the quality department, you need to like first know the basics of food technology. That is must. Basics of food technology should be there. And based on that, if you are entering into suppose analysis or testing, then you can also go for some of the courses related to ISO 17025. That would also help you to enter into the quality. If you are going for analysis, you can also go for food analyst course, which is actually run by FSSAI. So that is also a test which is conducted regularly by FSSAI. So that could also be a good way to enter into the quality part of food. So food analyst, once you clear the food analyst part, then you can enter into the food testing labs as well as analysis of food. Okay. Mr. Ankit Dimli is asking that he had completed FSSC certification and FASTEC certification. Is there any certification which can be done? Yes, you can do FSSC version 6 because this is the latest version to be implemented in the system, which has been applicable past April. So already 1 year had gone. So you need to enter, you need to know and implement FSSC version 6 into your FSMS. Okay. Ran is asking that ISO 22000. Ran is asking that ISO 22000 course is being offered somewhere around 23,000 to 25,000. How is it possible to get it online 3,000 rupees? Actually, the 23,000 course is for 5-day course. It is a 40 hours course, which brings about a lead auditor for you. And the 3,000 course is only the internal auditor course. So that is the difference between the course. 3,000 course brings about internal auditor, and the 25,000 or 23,000 course brings about the lead auditor course. Okay. Shubham is asking, as per FSCCI, how many types of allergens are concerned? So basically 8 types of allergens have been given by FSCCI. It is gluten, it is milk, fish, egg, peanuts and soya bean, then all types of nuts, cashew nuts, almond, ground, walnut, then the seafoods like crabs, prawns, they are also considered allergen. And one preservative is considered as allergen in the concentration of 10 milligram per kg or more. That is sulfur dioxide in the form of potassium metabisulfite or sodium metabisulfite. So for entering into food auditing, you need to work in the industry, and along with that industry, you go for the internal auditor course. At least 1 to 2 years of experience in industry is required. Then you can enter into auditing. But to make the base, you need to go for the internal auditor course. This is by show. Divyanshu Raj is asking, as a dairy technologist, he is doing an internship, and what certifications or courses can he cover? So first you go for FASTEC, and then you go for the HACCP, After that, you need either you can go for ISO or FSSC. That would help you out to make your base clear. Padmaja is asking, as a fresher in food tech industry, what are the skills needed to work in an industry? So as I told you, that basic food tech knowledge should be there. Along with that, you can go for any of the FOSTEC certifications. Initially, if you are in your first semester or second semester, you can go for basic certification. That is a 4-hour course of FOSTEC. Later, you can, if you're in your final semester, then you can go for 8-hour course of advanced manufacturing. With that, you can also go for HACCP implementation course or HACCP internal auditor course, and later dig deep into the different FSMS like ISO 22000 or FSSC 22000. This will help you out to actually enter into the regulatory part of the industry. Because if you know the standards, you know the Schedule 4, you know the ISO 22000, you know FSSC 22000, then you can very well function as a regulatory person in the industry. So for that, Schedule 4 program is also being run by Food Tech Network. You can also join that, apart from ISO 22000 and FSSC 22000. But currently, we are going to run the ISO 22000 internal auditor program from 23rd June to 27th June. Every day, 3 hours class is there, 7:30 to 10. Setal Girish is asking which certifications are required to enter into food industry with a background in food and nutrition. See, if you are entering into food industry, you can go for FOSTEC certification. This is the basic rule. Then you can go for HACCP and later again ISO, FSSC, Schedule 4, whichever FSMS you need to study. But FOSTEC, Schedule 4 and HACCP. These are the initial ones. Once you have a grip on these, then you can work on ISO and FSSC. I think you all would have enjoyed the session. So with this, we finish. And please visit the site to join the program, any of the programs which are present on the Okay. So I hope you have enjoyed the session, and there are a bunch of questions here in the chat box. I've tried to answer some of your queries, but if you still have queries, please join our upcoming programs, which are based on HACCP, which are based on ISO 22000, which are based on FSSC 22000, which are based on allergen management, Schedule 4, food defense, and foster programs. So based on that, we would be meeting again in any of the upcoming sessions. Thank you. Good night. Please join the programs where your queries could be clearly solved so that you can become a professional with good technical background to enter into the industry. So all the best and good night.